What's up, guys? Amanda here from Divine Physiques. So this morning I'm going to talk you through some of my chosen mobility exercises for the deadlift. So it's so important that when you are attempting one of the major compound movements, whether that's a squat, bench or deadlift variation, to spend 15 to 20 minutes warming up, just loosening things up, but preparing the main muscles and the movements for the specific movement that you're going to attempt. So if you find that you're just jumping straight into the exercise or that you're generally quite stiff, the good reason for that is that you're not warming up properly. The last thing you want to is to get some general tightness or reoccurring tightness or injury. And not because you're not necessarily executing your lift properly, but because we're not preparing the body properly enough. So the first thing I'm going to actually start with is a banded crab walk. And the way that we're actually going to do this is we're going to get one of these tight iron edge bands here around the top of the knee, okay? And then we're going to go into our side position, all right? So we want our feet about hip width apart to start with. So from the side, when we're stepping, we want to make sure that when we step back in, we're not actually bringing the feet back together. We want to keep our feet hip width apart the whole time. So I'm going to stand bigger than hip width apart and then come in to hip width, keeping our feet nice and straight. So if we turn the feet out while we do this, we're going to target more of the glute med and miss out on targeting the glute max. So in order to target the glute max, or the larger part of the bum, we need to keep our feet either straight or even slightly turned in, okay? So from here, gonna go down into a squat position, making sure our back's nice and straight. And we're just gonna perform a crab walk. Now you might want to perform 2 to 3 sets of this, 20 to 25 steps. And just make sure that you're not bouncing up and down, but you're remaining in that squat position, and you should feel a good burn directly into the glutes. Okay, the next exercise that we're going to do is a cable pull through, okay? So again, we're going to be working on our hip flexion and hip extension, which is the main movement for your deadlift. So today I'm going to be actually doing stiff leg deadlifts for my program. So I've got to make sure my warm-ups are specific to the movement that I'm trying to execute. So what we want to do is we want to set up our cable here to the low pulley and have a rope handy. It doesn't need to be heavy weight. It does need to be around an RPE of around 6 to 8, no more than that. So we do want the glutes to be loaded, but we don't want them to be overly loaded either. Then what we do is we grab the rope at the ends and we take a few steps forward. And then from there, we're going to go into our hip flexion, making sure we squeeze the glutes back, keeping them back nice and straight. Take a deep breath in to the belly, through the mouth, and pull the rope through. Locking the knees back. So with your stance, you don't want to be too wide for this one. Keep your feet hip width apart. So we want to make sure we're replicating the stance that we're going to be using for our actual deadlift variation. So again, that was probably a little bit too heavy just then. Just make sure that it's light enough that you can pull it through and actually pull the rope apart as well as you come through the legs, and make sure the metal part of the rope is pulled through past your leg itself so you can actually see that. The last exercise I'm going to show you is a cable Y raise. So we do these to get healthy shoulders. So healthy shoulders, it's such a common injury in lifting, to usually get tightness in through the pecs. And yeah, awesome form of bursitis in the shoulder. So the cable Y raise is going to help target the lower traps. Okay, when lower traps get weak, we tend to have internally rotated shoulders. Okay, and because I'm going to get you to be leaning forward with this exercise, you are going to have to breathe into the core and use the core as a stabilizer While going up in this direction here, we're going to get some of the serratus into play as well. Okay, so really, really good exercise. Doesn't have to be heavy. You want it to be relatively light because the shoulder joint is a small muscle and we just need enough to get a bit of a burn, but not so much that we can't control the weight. So very lightweight here. Not too light, but yeah, you don't want it to be hard from the first couple of reps. So taking a step forward again, we're going into our hip flexion, and that's where we stay. So we take a deep breath in and spread the rope apart up in line with our head as we come down. Slowly breathe in, pull the rope apart. So you want to perform about 12 reps here.
Oh